Representative, we've been kind of back and forth on this. We asked you to change the definition or to add to improve this situation. And I'm sorry, it's a little bit early in the morning here. The Senate stripped out some additional language that we did not ask for as we worked this through earlier this spring. Can you just further define exactly what is in this bill and how that affects general assistance with this appointment?
Right. So in the general assistance provisions, it clarifies that the ministerial functions of the deputy township supervisor includes the administration of the general assistance program. The reason why that's important is because under current law, when there is a vacancy in the office of township supervisor, there is some vagueness as to whether anybody could administer the general assistance program, including emergency assistance, which is assistance designed to alleviate life-threatening conditions. So the purpose of those provisions is to ensure that those emergency assistance payments can continue to proceed to alleviate life-threatening conditions, even if there is a vacancy in the office of township supervisor.
Okay. The other questions came up, and I don't know if we discussed it, and I don't know this was a part of the discussion that we had a few years ago when we put the provision in the law about how there would be a temporary supervisor would be appointed amongst the 4 trustees. Will this trigger the audit? My understanding is in the township code, every time there's a supervisor change, there's to be an audit. How do we grapple with that in this situation?
Well, the answer is no. This would not trigger an audit because there would not be a change in township supervisor.
But you're appointing a temporary one.
We are appointing a deputy township supervisor who will serve temporarily until the board fills the vacancy. And that's why, under the current law, his authority is limited to those ministerial functions. So there's a whole host of things that the deputy township supervisor is not able to do that are not falling under that umbrella of ministerial functions, which is why I think it's appropriate that they're not subject to the audit, because they don't have the full spate of authorities and responsibilities that a township supervisor has.
Right. So, again, I
appreciate.
Yeah,
Representative Miller gives you 2 minutes.
Thank you. Representative, I think this is duplicative. I've asked you to kind of get to the bottom of why we needed to do this, because I think we changed to allow the township board a few years ago to appoint amongst themselves a supervisor in a temporary role to fill these roles, because you still are not going to be able to write checks to any other function. So you're going to take care of general service. So I'm just kind of curious why we need to do this just for general service, because until you appoint a temporary supervisor to get to a permanent supervisor, you're still unable to write those checks.
It's because the provision of emergency assistance under the general assistance program is designed to alleviate life-threatening conditions. Now, I think you're raising an important point that we're balancing a few different interests at play. I think this bill is an appropriate approach to protect taxpayer funds, while also to make sure that people are not literally dying because there is a temporary vacancy in the office of township supervisor.
Yeah, well, thank you. Again, I know that I've supported this bill in the past. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it today. I'm probably not going to support it today. May sound like a good idea. Again, I think this is already provided for in the law. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I have no further questions, and I yield the balance of my time to other speakers on this side of the aisle. Thank you.